All right, excellent afternoon with all those who are watching me across the state in Nigeria. I say welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. And I must say, good governance may come at a cost, but quality administration may also come with endurance over a period of time. And the journey towards development and national progress will take a while. All of this starts with the choice of Nigerians making at the polls towards the 2023 coming election. I say again, welcome to another interesting episode of Real Talk with Kike. I remain your convener, Kike Atanda-Owo. That hasn't changed, don't worry. All right, guys, I think it's important for us to quickly take a message from our on this day in history segment. And a total of 138 persons were killed in terrorist attack in the northern Nigeria. And the night of the 26th of January saw a pair of simultaneous attacks that occurred at Borno State. I think it's important for us to get more message on this day in history segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This day in 2014, a total of 138 persons were killed in terrorist attack in northern Nigeria. The night of 26 January saw a pair of simultaneous attacks that occurred at Kowari, Borno State, and a Catholic church in Chakawa village, Madagali local government area, Adamawa State respectively. In Kawari, a village in Konduga local government, Borno State, located some 37 kilometers southeast of Maiduguri, some 85 people were slain overnight. The attacks have been blamed on Boko Haram. In Chakawa, also known as Waga Chakawa, the throats of several church worshippers were slit while others were shot. An estimated 41 people were killed. The final death toll was put at least 138 people.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. Exactly 9 years ago, to be precise, this occurred. And I must use this opportunity to put it out there that to our audience that this is not the pride that many of our stories should be told, because it's full of negativity. And on this platform, on this day initial segment has always, pinpointed or touchlighted quite a number of history, that has happened in the past regarding the legacy we are leaving behind. And it's just unfortunate that the precedents that our country has given us in our histories of negativity. And it is a call for me to use this platform today to call on our leaders that we should leave a good deed today, as the future generations to come can also try to toll towards that positive historical references going forward, because it's obvious that with all that has happened on this history segment in the last 4 years of this platform has always been full of negativity. And I just want to implore us to actually tilt towards a good power of character, just like I like to refer to Dr. Miles Muron's book. All right, guys, it's important for us to get a quick message from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, welcome again. Today we have a special guest joining us to discuss the upcoming elections in Nigeria and, of course, the current state of political affairs in this country, Nigeria. And we have been, diving deep into the issues that will shape or that are shaping the elections, as well as the candidates and their platforms. I will also, use this opportunity to say that it's important for us to also explore the, the solutions of the challenges that we are facing in this country, and also the potential, also solutions that have been proposed, which my guests will be throwing a lot of light on that. But joining us now via Zoom link is, I think before I actually unveil that, I think let me also emphasize that we are discussing the future of Nigeria, the role of politics that will shape the future as we move forward, and it is important for us to actually listen to this distinguished guest. Please stay with us and let's get a quick look at his profile. We'll be right back. All right, welcome to the show, Pastor Tunde Bakare. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you on our lunch show today. Again, how are you doing today, sir? Let me start from there. How are you today, sir? All right, fantastic. Sir, let's just go straight to the topic at hand. You know, you are a pastor who stand by political correctness and, of course, good governance. And your voice has always been lent to development and, of course, the progress of our nation. Let me let me start by asking you, what is your comment on our current state of affairs at the moment?
Politics today is being carried on by candidates who would like to win an election, but I've seen very little about how that will translate into good governance. I've tried to study their manifestos, I've tried to listen to their utterances in the course of their political campaigns, and I find very, very little that we could hold them down to that these are the promises you have made, these are the things you promised to do, and you do it. Sometimes it's been full of abuses against themselves. I don't see this as breakthrough politics. I see it as breakdown politics. Just get power at all costs and do what you will thereafter. That's all I can see.
Interesting insight right there. But I must ask you, sir, there are many issues battling us as a country, and we are going closer to the polls in February. Obviously, the month of February is a special one for Nigeria. But do you think Nigerians will make a wise decision? And do you think that we have liberated our minds from the shackles of poverty to realize that we cannot sell our votes in order to secure our future and that of our generation?
Well, thank you, Kike. Truth be told, we do not have what you can call a critical mass of enlightened citizenry in Nigeria presently. You and I know that only the educated are free. Education is a better safeguard of liberty than a standing army. As long as our people are not that educated, enlightened, and we don't have a critical mass of enlightened citizenry, poor choices will continue to be made. And those who are ready to take advantage of our people are always carrying their deep pockets to the polling booths and on election day to make sure that they buy the votes of the people. And many of our people are ignorant. They do not know that once you sell your vote, you can't hold them accountable any longer. Our desire, and I pray, and I hope and wish that we'll have that critical mass of enlightened citizenry who know their left from their right, not like the people of Nineveh, and who can determine exactly this is a candidate that will deliver dividends of democracy for us. Right now, all I've seen, the leading candidates are men who I saw in the course of primary recently, men who knew how to buy not just the delegates, but even candidates. So what do you expect when the blind leads the blind, they end up in a ditch? People are not that enlightened, and we continue to battle with that until we'll understand that education makes people easy to lead, but difficult to drive, easy to govern, but impossible to enslave. People have been enslaved day and night. 86% of those in the north you're expecting to vote are extremely poor. And whatever they get around the time of election, they try to get it from every angle in order to have some means of livelihood. This is the root cause of our backwardness, and the reason why we have the same recycled leaders coming in and in again as if there's status in any status quo. That's our challenge, and it's as if they deliberately destroy education so that our people will remain in bondage for long. And it will not take too long before the right people, that I call a new breed without greed, will surface and begin to steer the ship of our nation.
Fantastic submission right there, and I like the fact that you've been able to actually nail down the major challenge that we have in this country when it comes to education, and of course the northern part as well. But sir, no one is actually scoring this administration good grades, you know, going by economic indices of employment, you know, inflation, exchange rates, securities, and the likes. However, you still remain a APC member despite the perceived failure in performance. What are your reasons, and do you see any future prospects?
Well, we can remain on the vanguard of critics or what you call social activism, which had fully participated. My boss of blessed memory, Chief Gani Fahimi, who was an activist until he dropped, until he passed on. And when he tried to venture into politics, who considered him to be any suitable candidate. The truth of the matter is, in order for God to save mankind, the Bible teaches me that he became man. He took on the form of a man, became a man in order to rescue man. If you're not part of them, you cannot make a change. You'll be outside criticizing those inside. It's better to stay in there and make a difference and let them see that you can maintain contact without contamination. I've heard everything you said about all the backwardness you think we have experienced under APC government, but truth be told, they also inherited some of this problem from 16 years of misrule of PDP, and they will tell you they've done their best to improve in certain areas. It's not all zero, they score zero in every area. Government and governance is a continuum. A little degree we got here, we can build upon it in future. Yes, we can see the economic crisis, the social upheavals, that it's not even safe to travel in a train, and all kinds of insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, killing even those the parents of. These are things that stare us in the face today. But remember, once upon a time, there were territories completely controlled by Boko Haram, that no election could take place there. They put their flag there, but such had been completely eliminated now. Whoever is coming after President Buhari, if he's right thinking and if he's focused on the right things, along with a formidable team, not those who are surrounded to take advantage of lack of quality leadership and just embezzle the resources that should put into what will give us a good security architecture, and so on and so forth. We continue to sing the same aim over and over again. There is no government that everything all at the same time. A predictable government succeeds the previous government. We need that in our nation. Let me give this example. It will drive the point home. In the days of President Ibrahim Babangida, his wife, the First Lady, Mariam Babangida, was interested in transforming lives of women and others, and he started what you call Better Life for Rural Women. It was formidable. They were making progress. But when Abacha took over, rather than his wife to continue with Better Life for Rural Women, I'm putting it in my own phrase now, changed the name, it became Better Women for Rural Life, something like that. Instead of making progress, we destroy everything the other person had done, discredit them completely as if they didn't make any contribution, and start all over again, and another person will come to break down what we have built and start all over again. That's part of our problem. That will change. In nations that are frontline in the Western world, you build on the accomplishments of the previous generation so that one generation can praise and work to another generation, and then we'll see development that we desire.
Fantastic insights right there. Many thanks for actually taking us back to history. You know, you've mentioned about Gani Fahimi and, of course, Ibrahim Babangida's wife, with the roles that they've played in terms of transformation and, you know, continuity, so to speak. But, sir, I want to quickly, you know, bring you to fore, because I remember vividly that Buhari in 1977 said that our fuel crisis, you know, will be over in a year, and we're still in the same crisis even after 43 years. You know, given your awareness right now, and of course, even though your political participation could have been more active, or would have been more active by then, you know, should that have been the same man you would have chosen to be your running mate in 2011, and even belong to the same party, APC, despite the failing promises while in power?
Well, thank you very much. It was not my running mate, I was his running mate. I was his running mate. He asked me to be his running mate. I'll be upfront with you. General Muhammadu Buhari, as he then was, especially from 2003 when he joined the political class, he put on a new toga that made him acceptable to people as a Democrat. And he kept on saying that one of the lessons he learned was how the Soviet Union was completely dismantled. Then he began to think mere force cannot hold the people together. They must be able to express their own will through the ballot. He joined ANPP. They started from there. For years, then they came to CPC. It was at the CPC level. He asked me to be his running mate. And if I would say it loud and clear now, my answer the day I was called was no. Not because of his person, not because of what happened to him while he was military head of state. I believe very strongly every saint has a past, every sinner has a future. There have been people who are not reckoned to be good at a point in time, but they change. Saul became Paul, Simon became Peter. There are so many people like that. And that will tell you why I came very strong in December of 2022 to ask people to leave Tinubu alone. He's making some marks. You are just hanging his past on his head. Let us look at what he has done. And all these leaders who are armed to the teeth to pull him down, to destroy him, where are the leaders you have raised? Those are the questions I asked. I did not endorse his lifestyle, his political style, or whatever. But let's stop pulling ourselves down. Now, did Buhari win the election based just on my vote, or the vote of the masses of the people in the North and especially Southwest when they team up together? It was my privilege to move the motion for the merger of ACN and CPC, as well as a few other political parties at Eagle Square in the year 2012. But after that, I stepped down completely and did not participate. Unknown to you, I did not become part of APC as a party, as a card-carrying member until 2021. Because I thought there's opportunity to contribute a quota. You can't, there's no room for independent candidacy in a constitution presently, and so you have to be part of a party. But if you can maintain your integrity, your quality of character, if you understand contact without contamination, you'll be salt of the earth and light of the world. Salt will go to redeem what is going rotting and sustain it. That's the reason we have participated. And we understand also that God's strategy is to command light to shine out of darkness. God does not impose light on darkness. It needs light to be there for him to call that light out. He did that with Joseph in Egypt. He did that with Moses in Egypt also, Daniel in Babylon, and in recent history amongst our people. General Obasanjo, as he then was in prison. When he was called out, he did not participate in the process, but eventually He had to lead our nation from 1999 for another 8 years until Yar'Adua came. Let us find time to sit down and think critically. You need every kind of wood in the fire to cook the yam. Some of them will be straight, some of them will be crooked. But in the process of being subjected to heat, you will find out that those who cannot stand the heat will get out of the kitchen. I hope I made sense to you in my answer.
You do make sense a lot, and one of your submission where you mentioned everything has a past, and of course every past has a future. That is one of my
every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future.
Fantastic one right there. You know, with what that you have shared thus far, of course you're a man of history, and I must ask you, there's a number of other parties with, you know, relatively good candidates that we know, you know, a man of integrity like you may be expected to support the likes of, I hope so, you know, the likes of Adewale Adebayo. It was on my radio program a few weeks ago. Of course, Showore was also here, Peter Obi have been here, Kola Abiola have been here. They also relatively have good vision and cleaner state in comparison to the ruling party candidates. You know, I must ask you, with all that you have shared thus far, you know, bringing us back to history and talking about, you know, not just capacity, but talking about people who have good character, you know, which I feel that that's one of the challenges we are facing today. What are your thoughts on these expectations?
To be very honest with you, I'm a student of the Bible. The Bible is my GPS to navigate through this fallen world. One of the things we need to understand is that, like the people, like the priest, if the Bible had stated that like the priest, like the people, then I would say it's only leadership problem that we have. We also have followership problem. We have those who prefer stomach infrastructure to infrastructural development of physical assets, etc., etc. Listen to me, my dear, and I hope the audience also, those who are listening to us, will understand this. Those who have led us from 1960 to date are not foreigners, neither British nor German. They are Nigerians, like the people, like their leader. We have left character, competence, capacity in the back of the burner. We have looked at those who could come out, spend money, attract the crowd, and get the votes. To them, democracy is a ruthless game of number. So whatever character you have and competence and capability and capacity, if you're not willing to get involved with those who can make a difference, you remain on the sideline. Showore is well known to me. My brother Kola Abiola is well known to me. And I tried to get a bit back into the past. They're good people. But you are facing a system that believes that their status is status quo. Now, if they are going to change it, time will come when they will understand that you cannot become president of Nigeria except to learn how to build bridges. And Chief MKO, the father of Kola Abiola, was a man who built bridges across the nation. But then another power block frustrated his desire to lead this nation. We are still facing that today. If you look at the divisive forces that are converging upon our nation again, you look back and say, wait a minute, what is this going on? In the past, in the early 50s, late 50s and 1960, up to 66 before the intervention of the military, our leaders are majorly tribal leaders. They try to be national. We have the North, the East, and the West. Look at the three frontline candidates now and see where their political base and strength lies. You will talk of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is Southwest. You talk of Obi, is Southeast. You talk of Atiku, is North. So we are back to square one. We do not know that these men of experience, as we continue to say, their experience has brought us to where we are. This is not the season for just experience. This is the season for what I call ingenuity. And beyond ingenuity is the season for someone who can do the right thing the first time without any precedent. What do you call such people? They're geniuses. But geniuses cannot, like a tree, cannot make a forest. Let me share this with you. I wish Kwakwanzo, who is representing another divisive force of class division in our nation, like is an ancestor, if I will use that, Aminu Kano, who fought for the Talakawas. Imagine if Obi and Kwakwanzo had put their differences aside and they forged a team that could be alternative to these men of wealth, men of experience, men who had been there all along. They would have been able to shake the system better than they are now, individuals trying to run a race. Kwakwanzo said Obi is Andrew Liversalt. But Andrew Liversalt, even if he makes all his form, it brings curative dimension to a sick stomach. If they had seen how to put their houses in order and come together, they would have shaken the two frontline parties almost to the foundation. But right now, I do not see how much impact they will have in the next election. And the two major frontline candidates are now creating implosion, not only within their own parties, they are also fighting each other, abusing each other. We understand that the weapon of the vulgar is nothing but abuses. They're abusing themselves. One is calling the other a drug pusher. The other one is calling the other a thief. All kinds of nonsense. What do you want to buy from this? That's why I said the four horses that you see now are the four horses of the apocalypse. They will not bring anything good except God intervenes and give us, before the election, men and women who can truly steer the ship of the nation in the right direction. That's my submission.
All right, fantastic one right there again, sir. But sir, before we go on a quick break, I would like to ask you this last question because I feel that we are affected by it all majorly because beginning of this month, President Muhammadu Buhari forwarded the controversial 2023 budget. We all know what the figures are in terms of the debt profile of 77 trillion and lack of adequate revenue to fund this budget except borrowing. And that has become a culture in Nigeria. I keep saying this every now and then, that most of the issues or challenges, I like to use the word challenges, that we find ourselves are based on culture. What do you suggest that President Muhammadu Buhari should be doing going by this budgetary constraint that he has found himself or we found ourselves?
You're giving me a good laughter. I just want to laugh. President Buhari has 4 or 5 months to go.
I know.
Even the budget that is passed is not going to fully execute the budget or implement the budget before it goes. Let's stop looking in the rear mirror to drive forward. For as long as government continues not to create an environment, a conducive environment for businesses and businessmen to thrive in our nation, will remain in our debt. A government does not do business. Look, they get money through 3 main sources, and the 3 sources have put us in trouble. One is taxation. That's legitimate. The second is borrowing that has gotten us into this deep, I don't want to use a bad word, deep hole. That rather than coming out of the hole, we are digging further. If they don't get revenue from taxes, from borrowing, then they print. That's what government does. But a good government that wants a nation to develop, look at Qatar, look at UAE, look at other nations in the world. You create an enabling environment for businesses to come in, for FDI to come in for a direct investment, for investors to come into your land and know that there's rule of law, not rule of man. Until right replaces might in our nation, we'll continue to go back and back and backward. Where is the rule of law here?
Word from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, glad to know you're still with us. In case you just joined the show on Real Talk with Kike, we have been discussing the current issue of the political affairs in Nigeria, and of course, our special guest, Pastor Dr. Tunde Bakare, the founder of Citadel Global Community Church. I've been throwing a lot of light on most of the challenges that we've been facing, and of course, we have been discussing the upcoming elections and the issues that are shaping us right now with our actions. I must emphasize with most of the submission that he has given. So I want to explore the future of Nigerians and of course the critical roles of the politics that will be shaping us going forward with most of the solutions and taking us back to issue that has happened. But quickly, before we further go on the show, I think it's important for me to quickly open the phone lines. Remember, you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 080-988-77-400 showing on your screen right now. And remember, we're streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube, both on Silverbird platform and on Real Talk with Kike. Sir, many thanks for all your submission thus far. I must, actually look at the other angle of your career, which I know that you're a man who advocates for fair play and serious politics that will bring about good governance and, of course, development of the nation. With all that you've shared thus far, it's even further emphasizing on where your intention lies. But recently, APC and PDP have been distracted from all these I don't know what word to use now, by engaging in digging out the past allegations and cases of crimes perpetrated by their opposing candidates, which also you have also mentioned in one of your submissions, in one of the questions I asked you about all the banters that have been going on between them, which is very ill and is not good for our leaders to actually be, exhibiting such character in a public way. What are your comments on this, given the expectations that the majority of Nigerians following them might eventually emulate them? It's a worry for me.
Well, you see, again, just as I said to you, the Bible remains my GPS. In Proverbs chapter 24, verse 24 to 25, this is not church. I'm not expecting you to put it on the screen. I will simply say what it states. He who says to the wicked, you are righteous, him the people will curse. I repeat, he who says to the wicked, you are righteous, him the people will curse. Nations will abhor him, but those who rebuke the wicked will have the light, and a good blessing will come upon them. Those who blindly follow leaders who are corrupt and perverse and are championing them on without a genuine repentance to stop the evil they were doing to do good, we continue to bring curses upon themselves and upon children yet unborn. I like the preacher who said in his church, I want you to say amen to the following prayers. May the candidate you vote for in this coming election, may the character, all the excesses of that candidate be the character of your children and your children unborn. Nobody could say amen. So, out of two evils, you will have to choose one. But my own philosophy of life is out of two evils, choose none. Out of two good, choose both. You cannot expect leopards to change their sport. The more they bring their own rottenness out to public, it's good. It's healthy for us to know who these people are. I'll tell you the truth. I am fully persuaded that there's already an ambush. They've ambushed themselves. And if they continue, they will knock themselves off even before election time. Wait and see. Because they're already calling NDLA to arrest one. The others are calling EFCC to arrest the other. We don't need to. There's something about evil you must understand. The way evil is put together, it will self-destruct. That's why the Bible says, who kills by the sword will die by the sword. Who lives into captivity will end up in captivity by itself. There's something about evil, it self-destructs. Now, if any of these people in the front line today are destroying the life of other people in order to get to the top, now that's about their time, their turn to lay hold on that trophy. The law of harvest will take its place. It is mockery for you to sow bad seed and pray for crop failure. Whatever you sow, you will reap.
Yes,
we'll see it in 2023.
Absolutely, sir. Sir, because we are running out of time, I want to quickly, touch on a lot of questions that are coming to my head as I'm listening to you. And one of the questions that is coming to my head right now after your submission right now is the fact that local politics breeds dictatorship in this country, as we have seen thus far with all the shenanigans that they've exhibited. Good politicians don't avoid debate. So as a staunch APC member, one may think that there's a harbor of malice or resentment for Asiwaju from your end. I would like you to please kindly clarify these gray areas, because it is important for us to actually put that behind the carpet so that we will understand what exactly is the relationship at the moment.
As the Lord lives before whom I stand, may all that I wish Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, everything I wish for him, may they come back to me sevenfold. I've sat with him on a number of occasions. Those who really follow me, who are part of his team had come, do we leave? I said, no, stay there. You have something to offer. When he won the primary, I went straight inside Eagles Court in the cubicle, in the VIP cubicle. I greeted the president, greeted the VP, encouraged him, and went to Asiwaju himself. His wife was standing by his side. I said, from the goings on tonight, you are likely to win the primary. My only concern will be your health. And I will keep on praying for your health, that you are able to pull through. He's alive. I'm not saying this behind the scene. And I can roll out things I've done behind the scene to ensure that there's sanity in the polity. I would never allow any man to drag me so low as to hit him. Booker T. Washington said that. Bitterness and offenses can only destroy the carrier, not the person you're offended against. You cannot be offended and anointed at the same time. I have nothing ill towards him, no ill feelings towards him at all. But truth be told, Nigeria remains what drives my passion. A nation that works in my lifetime. Look, only one person will occupy that seat at any given time. And you know what? Nobody can receive anything except it's given him from heaven. I would like to say this to you. King Saul ruled Israel for 40 years of problem, of challenges, of persecution, of trying to destroy David for 40 years. But it was God who told Samuel to go anoint Saul as king. He knew all will happen in advance. I know at the end of the day we'll have a great time to love in this nation, because in his own wisdom and in his own sovereignty, he will intervene in the affairs of our nation and it will bring the righteous to power. You mentioned something about Emiloko. I can't overemphasize that. Asiwaju himself has changed that statement. In Yoruba, they say, Igika le dagoshe, a tree does not make a forest. You can. There's so many Yoruba proverbs coming to my head, but this is English interview. Listen to me. He has changed the statement. I think he has taken the correction. He now says our local, because that takes plurality of people. No single tree can make a forest. And guess what? If someone is emphatic about Miloko, you know that is drinking from the fountain of Satan, because all about the devil is 4 cardinal points are I, me, mine, and myself. We don't need leaders like that. We need leaders who will give opportunity to others. And I'm sure you have done that a number of occasions. He's brought Igbo people like Akabos into his cabinet. He had raised people that you don't think even have a place to function, or they don't have the pedigree, or people who can pursue. He had brought them in. He had given such leadership to Nigeria when he had opportunity to do so. And he has been denied of doing so many things. But Emiloko, I challenge it from day one that there's nothing like that. And besides all this, when the wicked are in authority, men groan. When the righteous will reign, people will rejoice. A king will reign in righteousness, and princes will rule by justice. What we need at this time is a new breed without greed, a radical opposition to corruption, men and women who choose to win by righteousness, and who would like to see righteousness exalt our nation, because sin is a reproach unto a people.
Fantastic.
They will come.
Fantastic.
The time will come when such men and women will arise.
All right, fantastic one right there. And I like the fact that you emphasized on I, me, myself, which is more like an entitlement mentality. And if we put aside the entitlement belief, it is also on record, just like you've emphasized thus far, some of the good works of Tinubu with the best hands when it comes to the technocrats, just as you have seen in Lagos State, and of course the federal level with example of Benakabweze that you mentioned. I work closely with him as well in the past. We've also seen the likes of Babatunde Fashola, who I also work closely with. But isn't that a good reason to support him to win the presidency, knowing that Nigerians will have functional and reliable people in the areas of, let's say, economy that would, and at the end of the day, yield positive results? What's your take on this, sir?
Well, you know, the 2023 election has its own dimensions and everything. It's just right now to say this is the person that will win. It's a bit difficult. We are still studying, we are still praying, we are still plodding along. Do I want APC to win or PDP to lose? That's not my choice. I only have one vote. All I'm doing now is to enlighten the public, to put it there, the type of politics, because a good tree will only produce good fruit, a bad tree will only produce bad fruit. So that's the essence of the State of the Union that I gave, that the moment you see these 10 characteristics of bad politics in any candidate, then you know that bad governance will result out of it. If APC is my party, who would want to be anti-party? You would desire your party to win. And if all good people are going to be the one that would do it, and we know that our candidate is a good person to sell, is going to be surrounded by good hands, why not? But the PDP also will also amass the best that they can amass. All I want, all I've said to those who are close to me, all the prayer I've ever prayed is, in 2023, let Nigeria win. Let Nigeria win, not an individual. Let this nation become priority and let Nigeria win, so that right people can put resources together and steer the ship of our nation from this mess to become a message that the world will behold.
Amen.
We must go from obscurity into prominence. This is the season for it.
Amen.
And God Almighty will knock off everyone that will not fit into that bill.
Amen. All right, we have Samuel from Lagos State calling. Samuel, apology for holding you on for two. I believe we've already lost that call. So, sir, with all that you've shared thus far, Samuel, are you there? I believe you are there.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, fantastic. Please, many thanks for calling. What's your contribution on the topic at hand? Please go straight to the point. We don't have much time in our hands.
Yes, I want to, first of all, I want to say a very big thank you to Pastor Tunde Bakare for his contribution. But I want to say this. The way the politics is going on in Nigeria nowadays is very, very discouraging, in the sense that the political actors are abusing themselves, using different to call themselves and all that. But what I would say is that God should help Nigerians, because what we need is not abusive words. What we need is that they should sit down and look into Nigerian problems. I dragged to Kola to buy fuel. The whole place was filled up. Then I don't know whether politicians, they don't used to travel out, they don't used to go out and see what Nigerians are passing through. Therefore, I'm pleading with all the political actors that they should know.
All right, apologies, Samuel, for your contribution. I mean, for losing that call, but many thanks for your contribution on the topic at hand. Sir, you've shared a lot right now, and I believe that the only way to clean something dirty is to first of all get involved. And I like the fact, I must emphasize on this platform, how you've been involved since 2021, since you've become a card carrier member. And looking at the long term of cleaning our system, I must ask you, how do we start and how do we finish that journey? That's number one. But quickly, because I know we are running out of time, the second question I would like to ask you, I'm from a Muslim background. I was a practicing Muslim that was covered up for many years and all of that. And I know you are from a Muslim background as well. You have been through the Redeemed Christian church journey, which was one of the conversations we had this morning before coming on air. You also have a vast exposure when it comes to the front and back cover of Quran and the Bible. There's so much divide, sir, amongst us in terms of religious affiliations, ethnic divides, IPOB, name it. We have had all sorts of discussion on this platform regarding that. What should be our disposition to these differences with respect to making a choice of our leader and harmonizing Nigerians for unity and peace?
Those who use ethnicity or religion, etc., only show that they have nothing substantial to offer the people. They hide under religious cleavage or ethnicity to promote division amongst our people. You wear your faith like your wristwatch. Is your relationship with God. Look, our Constitution, as terrible as it is, states clearly that the purpose of governance is the welfare and the security of people. Every government so far had not taken that into consideration, and I've not seen the emphasis by all the candidates so far to say, these are the solution we are bringing to this, instead of abusing ourselves. If the welfare and the security of our people are the concerns of political parties and politicians, we will not be in this mess. And let me say this very humbly. I do not beat my chest that I'll be better than anybody, because I've not been given opportunity so to do so. I cannot be judged. But what we have seen so far is that has not been the major concern. The citizen of this country must be number one. The office of the citizen must become much more powerful than the office of the president, because the president, the government, the cabinet, they are all servants of the people. And who is going to be the greatest amongst you, Jesus said. Of all, if they come mentality, will not be in this mess. We need a reorientation that we know that we are coming to serve the people. I mean, I said from day one, if I ever have the opportunity, I do not need more than 4 years to set the template and let others build upon it. It is not our local thing. That would, a local would lead to imperial presidency or presidential imperialism. We don't need that. And I thank God that as soon as you have dropped that, it doesn't use it anymore. It says our local. Listen, we need to focus on our people. Those of us who have tasted extreme poverty, you mentioned religion right now. Yes, I was a Muslim. I read Quran from cover to cover, and I've been a Christian for since I was 19 till now that I'm 68. And I've been privileged to pastor a church in the past, and especially the city for 33 years. Let me tell you this. It would take a Moses who was too much of an Egyptian to be a Jew, and too much of a Jew to be an Egyptian, to reconcile the differences between us. And thank God, either in the Islamic world or in the Christian world, we have friends that will work together And we expect that the best of the North and the best of the South will come together to fix our nation.
Fantastic. Many thanks again for coming on the live show today. It's been an interesting time with you. I must emphasize, Dr. Tunde Bakare, it's my pleasure. I must, talking to you and, of course, enlightening all the listeners right now. But quickly, before I let you go, sir, there's the last segment of the show. I hope we have enough time to actually trash this before my technical director starts, running commentary in my ears. Is trending stories. These are stories that bind us together, sir, as Nigerians, that interest you and I. And one of the trending stories that caught my attention before coming on air is the fact that Tinubu said petrol scarcity, Naira redesign, ploy to sabotage his victory in the election, the upcoming election. But before I come to you, sir, to quickly give your submission, when I saw this, this statement of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the Abeokuta rally yesterday comes as a smear in his own party. And I saw I also saw that article also said that the current redesign would frustrate and destroy Tinubu's Bolivar ambition. I'm trying to use their word so that I don't misquote them. Anyways, that's all the political shenanigans. However, from a critical look, it's not befitting for a presidential candidate who wants to rule a nation to say that the CBN financial policy is a sabotage. I'm looking at it from an entrepreneur. To also say that the petrol scarcity affecting over 200 million Nigerians is a personal sabotage. This shows the Emileko that we've been emphasizing thus far on this platform, and the selfishness and egocentric, or will I say, that's egocentric behavior of most of our candidates right now. Does that truly mean that the oral design really spoils its plans? That's the question that came to mind when I was watching this. Does that mean that it truly has the unthinkable amount of the wild currency? Is also what came to mind. So, what are we saying? What are Nigerians saying right now when it comes to coming election? Rather, I think that it should be lamenting with Nigerians and discussing the possible intervention that would end the fuel scarcity that we've all found ourselves. This is what Nigeria expects from a leader, and I must emphasize on that. A leader should be proactive, and he should be using this crisis to try to score points with Nigerians, discussing and trying to provide solutions to the lasting issues that we have in terms of implementation that Nigerians can actually relate with. Sometimes, sir, I will not lie to you, I feel weak being a Nigerian. I say it a lot on this platform. I wonder why public communication leaders or our public communication skills have failed our leaders when it comes to how they hold their heads in the public space. Sir, what's your take on this quickly, if it's possible, in 1 minute?
I'm an Egba man, a thoroughbred Abeokuta man. I lived there for years. If you want to go to Abeokuta to tell lies or to do anything contrary, be careful, because the forces of truth and righteousness there can compel you to say wrong things. I've seen the damage control being done by spokespeople, and that it meant PDP fifth columnist. I read that this morning. That was something that portrayed him to be challenging the sitting president as the one hindering him from wanting to win the election or from wanting to frustrate the election, no matter the damage control they tried to do. Here is a man, President Buhari, who had gone with you to the political field to campaign. He has lifted up your hand. He has said this, he has said that. A house divided against itself cannot stand. All the damage control is trying to paper wall a crack. It is better they sit down and put the crack and fill the crack before the rain will start falling upon them. That's my opinion. Abeokuta is not a place you just go to and say things. The first time he went there, he started saying, Buhari should go back. Where did that happen? That's falsehood. That's falsehood. That's why I said to you, he who says to the wicked, you are righteous, him the people will curse. Let's be careful. And like you have said, you made all your submission. I've just said my own. Egba city, Abeokuta city, is built on the rock. Truth is what we hold there in that place. So if you carry falsehood there, whatever pressure is applied on you will show this juice that in you. If you squeeze orange, there'll be orange juice. If you squeeze pineapple, there'll be pineapple juice. So when you squeeze people.
All right, many thanks for your submission thus far. With that, we've come to the end of another edition of Real Talk with Kike. And indeed, I had an awesome time with my resourceful guest, Pastor Tunde Bakare. Many thanks again for honoring my invitation. And I must say, may God continue to give you longevity in sparkling health to continue to lend your voice. Till I come your way next week, please remain kind to somebody and put a smile on somebody's face. Bye now.